Hello viewers, in this video we are going to solve these exponential equations. Exponential equations of this form must be reduced to quadratic equation before we can solve them. So how can we approach question like this? Let's look at how we can do that, starting with number 1, which is 5 to the power of 2x minus 26 to the multiplied by 5 to the power of x plus 25 equal to 0. To reduce this to a quadratic equation, I'm going to rewrite this first term as 5 to the power of x, then to the power of 2, because x times 2 will still give us this 2x here. I'm doing that so that this term here and this one will be the same. I have minus 26, then 5 to the power of x, then plus 25 equal to 0. Now that we have 5 to the power of x here, we also have it here. We can replace it. Let p be 5 to the power of x. So that when I replace this with p, here now becomes p squared, or minus, not equal to, sorry. Become p squared minus 26p, since we have 5 to the power of x there too, plus 25 equal to 0. This is a quadratic equation now. And we use factorization method to solve this. First of all, multiply the first term p squared by the last term 25, which give me 25 p squared. Then I look for two factors of 25 p squared that can add up to negative 26p. The factors of 25 that can add up to 26 will be 25 and 1. And we're talking about factors in 25p squared, factors of 25p squared. So that will be 25p and 1p. Since we're looking for negative 26p, both of these factors have to be negative. Negative 25p added to negative 1p will give you negative 26p. So once we get the factors, we can replace this middle term with the factors so that the equation becomes, let me continue here, p squared minus 25p minus p and plus 25 equal to 0. Remember, I said once we get the factor, we'll replace the middle term with the factor. So that is what I have done here. To factorize this, let's group it 2 by 2. So I have p squared minus 25p. Then I also group this together, p minus 25. The plus changed to minus because we introduce a bracket equal to 0. In the first bracket, p is common. So p bracket, p minus 25. In the second bracket, the only common factor there is 1. The only thing that divides is 1. That is what we mean by common factor. Minus 25 equal to 0. Since we have a common factor p minus 25, we have it here p minus 25, then we group this and this together, p minus 1 equal to 0. It's either p minus 25 is equal to 0 or p minus 1 is equal to 0. Excuse me. That means p minus p is equal to 25 or p equal to 1. But here we say that p is 5 to the power of x. P is 5 to the power of x. This implies when p is 25, it implies 5 to the power of s is equal to 25. And 25 can be written as 5 squared. That means therefore 5 to the power of s is equal to 5 squared. The bases are the same. We equate the power, hence s is equal to 2. The other value of p is 1. So when p is 1, it implies 5 to the power of s is equal to 1. Now, how do we express 1 to make it equal to 5? We know that any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. So 5 to the power of s, therefore, is 5 to the power of 0. Since 5 to the power of 0 is equal to 1. Hence, s equal to 0. Therefore, the final answer is s equal to 0 or s equal to 2. That is that for question number 1. Question number 2. Let's select it and move this down. Question 2. Let's continue here. Question 2 6. 5 to the power of 2x plus 1 minus 26 bracket 5 to the power of s plus 5 equal to 0. Let me write it here. With 5 to the power of 2s plus 1 minus 26 multiplied by 5 to the power of x plus 5 equal to 0. This first term here, we can write it as 5 to the power of 2x multiplied by 5 to the power of 1 minus 26 and multiplied by 5 to the power of x plus 5 equal to 0. Where did you get this from? Because the law of indices that say a to the power of x multiplied by a to the power of y is a to the power of s plus y. So the question originally is like this. So we turn it to this form here. That is what I did here. And this first term here, which is 5 to the power of 2s, we can write that as 5 to the power of s, then to the power of 2, then multiply that 5 to the power of 1, which is 5, minus 26 bracket 5 to the power of s plus 5 equal to 0. Let n be 5 to the power of x. So we can replace this and this. That means n squared for the first term multiplied by this 5, which is 5n squared, minus 26n plus 5 equal to 0. Again, quadratic, so let's solve that by multiplying the first term by the constant term. 5n squared multiplied by 5 is 25n squared. Then we look for two factors of 25n squared that add up to this middle term, negative 26n. That should be 25n and n. Since the middle term is negative, this should be negative and this should be negative. So we replace the middle term now with these factors so that the equation becomes 5n squared minus 25n minus n plus 5 equal to 0. Let's group that 2 by 2. So 5n squared minus 25n minus n minus 5 equal to 0. In the first bracket, 5n is common into n minus 5. In the second bracket, 1 is common, n minus 5 equal to 0. N minus 5 is common, so pick 1. Then group this and this together. 5n minus 1 equal to 0. It's either n minus 5 is equal to 0 or 5n minus 1 is equal to 0. N therefore is 5 or 5n equal to 1. Moving this to the other side. Dividing both sides by 5 here, we have n to be what? 5 or 1 over 5. But from the onset, n is 5 to the power of x. Right. N is equal to 5 to the power of x. Therefore, when n is 5, it implies 5 to the power of x is 5 to the power of 1, which means s is equal to 1. Again, when n is 1 over 5, it implies 5 to the power of x is 1 over 5, which means 5 to the power of x is 5 to the power of -1. That is expressing this as a negative indices. And equating the basis, the powers rather, s is equal to -1. Therefore, the values of s are 1 and -1, and where's the other one? The other option, and +1. That is that for question number 2. Let's move on to question number 3. For question number 3, it says 3 to the power of x squared plus 2 multiplied by 3 to the power of x minus 3 is equal to 0. This one is already arranged for us, so let's just substitute by 2. Let p be 3 to the power of x, so that the equation becomes p squared plus 2p minus 3 equal to 0. Again, I'm using factorization. P squared times -3 is -3p squared. 2 factors of -3p squared that can give us positive 2p. That should be 3p and -p. So that by the time we replace this middle term with the factors, our equation becomes p squared plus 3p minus p minus 3 equal to 0. To factorize, we're going to group these 2 by 2 plus 3p minus p plus 3. Again, this minus changes to plus because of the bracket that I introduced here, equal to 0. In the first bracket, p is common. I have p into p minus plus 3, and minus in the second, 1 is common. P plus 3 equal to 0. Have a common factor p plus 3. Then we group this and this. P minus 1 equal to 0. That means p is equal to -3 or +1. But we say that p is 3 to the power of x. So when p is equal to -3, that implies 3 to the power of x is equal to -3. Now, there is no way positive and negative number can be the same. So here, there is no solution at all, no solution, because here we have positive exponential, here we have a negative number. There's no way they can be equal. So let's check the other value of p. When p is equal to 1, it implies 3 to the power of s is equal to 1. And 1, we can write that as 3 to the power of 0, since any number raised to the power of 0 is 1, which implies s is equal to 0. S is equal to 0 is the only solution to this equation. The only solution. And lastly, I think I still have one more question there. Question 4. Let's do that one. Question 4 is 2 to the power of 2x plus 2 to the power of s plus 1 minus 8 equal to 0. This middle term here, you can split it up. I have 2 to the power of 2s, or let me also work on that first time also. First time we can write that as 2 to the power of s to the power of 2, then plus this one we can split it up as 2 to the power of s multiplied by 2 to the power of 1 minus 8 equal to 0. Let n be equal to 2 to the power of x. If n is equal to 2 to the power of x, that means here will be n squared plus n multiplied by this 2 is 2n minus 8 equal to 0. Here we've arrived at a quadratic equation. Multiply this and this. N squared multiplied by negative 8 is negative 8n squared. 2 factors of negative 8n squared that can give us positive 2. That should be 4n and negative 2n. And we're going to replace this middle term with the factor so that the equation becomes plus 4n minus 2n minus 8 equal to 0. And group it 2 by 2 as usual. N squared plus 4n minus 2n plus 8 minus 10 to plus because we bring a bracket. Here n is common, n plus 4 minus here 2 is common, n plus 4 equal to 0. We have a common factor n plus 4. We group this and this together. N minus 2 equal to 0. That means n plus 4 is equal to 0, or n minus 2 is equal to 0. Hence, n equal to, when this comes like this, it becomes minus. And when this comes like this, it becomes plus. So n is negative 4 or 2. But we say that n is 2 to the power of x. Hence, when n is equal to negative 4, 2 to the power of s is equal to negative 4. There's no solution here. Positive number and negative number cannot be equal, hence there is no solution. What about when n is equal to 2? This implies 2 to the power of s is 2 to the power of 1. Hence, s equal to 1 is the only solution. And that is what I have for you in this video. I hope you found it useful. If you do, please like the video, share it with your friend, and subscribe to my channel so you get notified for a new video. Thank you.